Hello, hello! Another Tuesday, another dev diary for no compromise, no surrender. Today we have Philippines on the menu. If you're interested in the DLC at all or any of Paradox's games such as Europa Universalis 5, use my link down below. Use code BITTERSTEEL. It is case sensitive. And pick up the DLC yourself. Pick up any game you want from Paradox's store. It gives you a Steam key, no extra cost. I get 12% of the cut, and I can buy so much more Warhammer with it. Anyway, let's get to the dev diary. Ladies and gentlemen, rejoice! Another Tuesday, another Bittersteel jump scare and dev diary. Today, the Philippines. So let's dive right in. And now that I've shrunk to a more reasonable and manageable size, let's take a look here. The Philippines in 1936. We got ourselves Manuel Quezon and Quezon? I don't know. So this is the historical start for the Philippines. This is the new tree for the Philippines. I'll tell you, that's a thick boy. It starts off great. The economy is shit, as we all expect. So this is something that very much mirrors their American overlords. The Great Depression hit Philippines just as it hit the United States of America. But fortunately, there are ways to fix it, and they go over the 5 tiers that go towards fixing this. So this is all, I believe, the economy branch, culminating in the Pearl of the Orient Seas. And there's going to be some choices, obviously. And it does look like it will definitely come down to some choices. I recognize some new icons here. That's a stopwatch there. So maybe there's some more information in the dev diary about that. Oh, and you can align with the US or Japan. All right, the Great Depression, the first tier mostly reduces the worst of the negative modifiers to just start things back up. Orange fixes the economy a little more, brings it to... you're out of the depression, but everything's not the greatest yet. It's the early snowball. Yellow is where shit starts to really recover and modifiers start turning green. Economic growth, that's the blue bit. Post-independence, supercharging of the economy. So that's post-independence. Okay, good to know. And yeah, well, green's the capstone. This is probably the big payoff. This is where they really dial up the numbers, I guess. I really would like to see the numbers to make a judgment. All right. So this is like that center branch. This is where they have all these timers, and it does look like... so if you've chosen to align yourself with Japan, those stopwatches come into play. So you can align yourself with the US, that's the historical path. It probably has some benefits to it, but the immediate tangible benefits of aligning yourself with Japan is that a lot of these economic focuses get sped up. So all the ones that have a stopwatch next to them, instead of just being 70 days, if you're allied or aligned with Japan, they turn into 35-day focus, meaning you can progress a lot faster down that tree towards independence and a good economy. And the faster you get your economy going, the more it can work for you. So it is going to compound that speed. So that's good. The American stuff's going to have to be really good to make up for that. So let's take a look. So the historical path seems to really lean on the military side of things. So Japan path, faster economic growth, and the benefit of siding with the Americans seems to be that you can get your hands on better leaders. Well, better. You gotta take MacArthur. You can get your hands on Eisenhower as well, it seems. Police Chief Eisenhower. And I believe large amounts of equipment, military requisitions, small arms, aircraft, trucks, could be useful, though if your economy is good, you can make that stuff anyway. Guns really don't take that long to build up a decent stockpile of. So we're gonna have to see the numbers on this to really know which is more worthwhile, but I can see the trade-off. You're better prepared militarily, or you're better prepared economically. Now they do mention here that the exact path will be left open to players and AI. So on historical, the Philippines will try to get down to the Treaty of Manila. So they just work their way down the tree along a more or less preset path. However, it's open whether or not they go left side or right side. So Japan or USA alignment, that is open to interpretation. That is interesting. 'Cause I don't know if that means they'll join Japan in war. I guess it gives the US a little bit more of a challenge if they do. 'Cause it can get quite boring playing the USA. Politics. Rebuild the Socialistas, though our first fascist branch. A little bit of a history lesson here. Essentially, you rebuild a destroyed political movement leaning on fascist ideals that either goes down the slippery slope of fascism or turns to old frenemies. Now I'm curious. First off, you question the legitimacy of the elections and use that to put yourself in power. Gee, how topical. You get rid of Quezon and then some more bonuses until you can finally get yourself some Japanese guarantees and a war for independence. I do wonder how that's gonna go, fighting the USA. Like, leaving aside the path, the political path, the fact that there is a war of independence is going to be interesting. They need to handle this well, because otherwise you're going to end up in a perpetual war with no hope of ever even getting to the USA. So I hope they have some system in place to keep the war local and limited so that you can get out of the war with your stuff, you know, your country, and not just be at war with the USA starting 1938 and realistically never getting out of it because the US Navy. So it does say you can approach Japan for guarantees, and if they grant it, it's less likely that the US will respond militarily. So if you have some backing in the region, maybe you don't have to fight the US. Rather not. I'd rather not. Oh, okay, so the ultimate goal is independence, and it can be accomplished through the Treaty of Manila. So you don't have to fight the War of Independence. I'm assuming the Treaty of Manila is the economic branch. You can still do the rest of the economic branch, but these paths specifically have the option of a civil war, which I assume just speeds the whole thing along if you can win that War of Independence. It's not a civil war, it's a war of independence. And what's this? Another branch. Spanish reconciliation. So they cooked this up after a bit of feedback from you guys. So good job. And it looks like a Spanish monarchy branch. For reasons that are entirely beyond me, the people who first fought the independence war against Spain realized that after 30 years of being under America's boot, baby, please just make me Spanish again. I'd rather be a citizen in Spain than a second-class citizen, or not even a citizen, a second-class person, or just another one of America's markets. And the Philippines can begin to work to rebuild their relations with Hispanic counterparts in America, Argentina, Mexico, Chile, Cuba, to request some support, creating an Hispanic alliance, and they can even appeal directly to Spain. It will be far more favorable if the Philippines supported them in the Civil War. Okay, so Franco's gonna come to my aid. Franco's gonna come sailing in on his 2 battleships to defend the Philippines against the Americans. You know what? I mean, it gives Franco something to do. Otherwise, he's just gonna sit there and do nothing. Oh, this is where it gets good. So, if you do regular old fascism, it's just that. You get the Second Philippine Republic. If you've reconciled with Spain, you can be Reino de Filipinas. You can be the Philippine Kingdom with a glorious Spanish seal on your flag. And again, they go into some explanations that this is not, in fact, a bad copy-paste job. We took out the 4th star of the Philippine flag, which symbolizes the revolt against Spain, the rebellion against Spain, and we've replaced it with the royal seal of the guy we intend to be the king. So, it's a cool flag, I guess. I'll allow it. I see something I haven't seen before. Maritime communism. The final political branch. Communism. The worst ism. So they legalize the Communist Party and then all bets are off. Rally the fisher folk. So this is a different flavor of communism. You know, the communism we know and love is either by the laborers, the workers of the factories, or in Mao's case, the peasant farmers. Now, this is a third version of communism by the fishermen. So, nautical communism, maritime communism, infiltrate Chinese ports. Yeah, it's gonna go over well. So, a whole history lesson here, but what I really like is this one sentence down here. While most communist states in Hearts of Iron tend to have enormous armies, the Philippines can get a massive navy instead, and the focus is here, support that goal. Oh baby, is this specifically for our communisms? Because this does look very nice. Development of naval infrastructure, and they say that there's a lot of bonuses there to dockyards and navy production. Oh, I think with this tree, if this is half as good as they hint that it might be, this is going to be the naval game for players. I am really looking forward to trying that, like a proper naval game with this. I don't usually play communist branches because they're the least interesting branch. They're always very formulaic. Pledge allegiance to Stalin or fight Stalin and the rest of the world. But this is a good pitch. I want to see what it does. Masters of the Pacific. So this is where our war goals are. And going right to left, they actually make sense. Well, Japan, okay, it's strategically important. Oceania, strategically important once again. Polynesia, Malaya Polynesia, okay, oh no, it's your backyard. I can see it. The Pacific Islands, same strategic importance, sort of your backyard. I can see that. And then Madagascar. Reunite Madagascar. Now, I don't purport to being a historian or a sociologist. What does Madagascar have to do with the Philippines? Like they're quite far away on a map. Oh, apparently they share the same branch of Western Malayo-Polynesian heritage. Ah, good to know. Good to know. So, the way they explain it is blue circle potential cores. I think green and yellow circle also potential cores. Red, I don't know, that's Taiwan, Formosan, maybe a core. Japan, not cores. And I believe the oceanic territories also not cores. They're just strategic territories which you can get claims on, but not cores. Like the Austronesian connections, geographical areas with significant Austronesian populations were considered for claims and cores. That's why Madagascar's on the list. Well, okay, that makes sense, I guess. You know what, Hoi 4 and cores, it's never really made all that much sense. As long as the gameplay's good, I'll allow it. And then subjects, surrender. Obviously the AI is going to lose all the time, and it actually might be a fun path for a player to lose and come back as well. So if and when that does happen, you have some toys to play with. The Philippine resistance was quite fierce, one of the most fierce in the entire war. And I do hope this tree pays respects to that. I see MacArthur over there. I shall return. Shouldn't have fucking left. But that's besides the point. Soldiers in hiding. There was a large military contingent sort of left behind by the aforementioned MacArthur. The Hukbalahap. Local resistance and more local resistance. I mean, communist resistance fighters and local resistance. They're Filipinos defending the Philippines against a foreign invader. You know, they get past. They're willing to help me out. That's good. Actually, I intend to play one of these. I'm interested to see if these are actually any good. I do intend to play one of those campaigns. Because something appeals to me, like be defeated, and then come back. I do like those campaigns. National Defense Act. It's like the military branch. That's a reasonably small-ish military branch, but I'll be honest, I very rarely use military branches because usually it's just a couple of mils here, a couple of research bonuses there. It's the political branches that have all the good stuff, or the naval branches if you want to play a naval game. So we'll have to see if this is actually any good. Holy shit, it better be, because I need to get rid of this. Oh, that's bad. Look at that. 90% reduction in factory output, 50% dockyard output, not even mentioning the recruitable pop being cut in half. Holy crap. So the first focus, the National Defense Act, increases factory output by 75% and it just basically undoes the dockyard output penalty. So that first focus immediately slashes the penalties down to something far more manageable. So probably one of the first focuses you want to take just to get rid of all the other ones. You know, so you can actually make something yourself. So the defensive branch is going to build up fortifications around Manila and Bataan to create a fortified bastion. The army branch is also going to build up the military, as one would expect, a combination of combat and production bonuses. Finally allow the Philippine army to come fully online. Terminally online. And a little bit of an Air Force branch, which is going to be somewhat of a fantasy. Basically, they were all American planes. The offshore patrol is going to be the naval side of things, and they're trying to lean into the concept of the PT boat. Don't really know how they're going to properly represent PT boats, that they don't have a current hull type, and the smallest hull type in the game is the destroyer, unless they add something new here. It's just going to be a bunch of destroyer bonuses, I would assume. And I was right, patrol boats, they're gonna try and handle the concept of the PT boat through the naval doctrine system. So giving you sizable bonuses to some features related to destroyers. That can be good, depending on how many more changes are coming to the actual naval system. Because right now, I mean, just spam light cruisers with light attack. Light cruisers with armor and light attack beats anything. But if the naval game gets changed enough, I can see this being useful. It's less complex than them adding in a whole new ship type that was really only used in this general area, like the PT boats. I guess torpedo boats on the European side, I think. Yeah, okay, maybe. But Navy's already complex enough for like half the player base. It's really not that hard, guys, but I get it. And it does look like the Philippines are gonna get a specialization in that patrol boat stuff, really leaning into some bonuses you can get. Convoys get cheaper, convoys retreat faster, convoys have less visibility, so you can actually get your naval stuff done, so you can get your trade, you can get your supplies, with it getting sunk less. Alright, fair. We'll see how this does. And a bunch of lovely artwork. Yeah, MacArthur's here. Dwight D. Eisenhower's here. They get a couple of Japanese on your side as well, I suppose. I don't know if these are for like occupied Philippines or just Japan-aligned Philippines. There are options. That is one big hat for that Navy. That is one big hat for that Admiral. Okay. And a bunch of advisors as well. So this is all very interesting. Love the artwork. It's their new style, but okay. Back soon. That's MacArthur's portrait, I bet. Anyway, with that, I will leave you. If you're interested in this, check out my link down below to pick up the DLC. If not, I'm not your dad. You can't tell you what to do. Just know that I am proud of you. Anyway, I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.